Hi, I'm Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim presented by Iravati Research and Communication Center or IRCC. My today's guest is arguably the most interesting person I have ever interviewed. Mr. Salah Uddin Shoaib Choudhury is editor of Blitz in Bangladesh. It's a weekly newspaper with web publication. He also owns entertainment media. He is a lyricist, composer, and a polyglot. That's not the full introduction of Ms. Choudhury. He handled communication for North Korea and Soviet Russia. He has been speaking against jihad and soliciting better relations with Israel from Dhaka for more than 2 decades. A 2003 report by the Daily Star, this is the top English newspaper in Bangladesh, says Mr. Choudhury was arrested from Dhaka airport while he was on his way to Tel Aviv he was arrested for carrying write-ups on quote-unquote minority repression and the Al-Qaeda network in Bangladesh. Since then, he spent 7 years in jail in tranches on charges of blasphemy, sedition, and treason. From BNP's Khaleda Zia government to Army League's Sheikh Hasina government, no Bangladeshi ruler was kind to Choudhury. From UNHRC reports to Dawn of Pakistan, New York Times, or the Wall Street Journal, you will find Choudhury's name everywhere. He also has many detractors worldwide. The list includes Indian National Congress and even some Israelis. His newspaper office was attacked in 2006. He suffered physical torture. No journalist I know in Dhaka utters his name. Yet, he is arguably the biggest newsmaker from Bangladesh, who has been criticizing Islamists, Dr. Muhammad Yunus and Rahul Gandhi at ease in social platforms, media interviews, and of course, through his Blitz. Sir, welcome to you to my show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, going by the 2003 Daily Star report, let me start from there. You have been talking about minority repression and terrorist activities in Bangladesh for over 2 decades. To what extent the situation has changed in these 2 decades? Please emphasize the situation in last 4 months of the interim government. Over to you.
Thank you very much. You see this process of radicalization of the society, and I'd like to say that here, when the people, some people, our politicians and those who rule us, when they switched from Islam to political Islam, and that is the beginning where we saw the madrasas turning into breeding ground of jihadis, when we saw various jihadist outfits entering Bangladesh through their local franchises. And now what we see in today's Bangladesh, that they publicly chanting slogans, carrying the flags of Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, or threatening to slaughter Hindus and ISKCON, and also a kind of the anti-India sentiment. This whole thing is the result of the certain section of the society switching from the Islam to political Islam. And that is the beginning of the problem. And as you have mentioned about the minority repression, it is not new. Minority repression actually began right from the 14th of August 1947, when this part of the world was divided from India on the basis of religion. So on the basis of religion, the post-West Pakistanis, they considered them as Muslims, and they considered us, the East Pakistani Muslims, as actually not real Muslims. So they wanted to make us Muslims, and they started considering us as pseudo-Muslims, let's say, and Hindus as Kafirs, infidels. So that was the beginning from 1947, and now what we are seeing is the kind of the decades of tolerating this kind of tendency in this country.
Sir, what is the role of Bangladeshi media and intellectual class in arresting minority repression? Right at this moment, social media is abuzz about persecution. I'm talking handles from Bangladesh, uh, about persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh. So Hindus are really outpouring. However, almost all editors of top dailies, I'm not taking names, but I have checked top three dailies. So they are disapproving such reports in their editorials and post editorials, and almost, they are accusing or Indian media of propaganda journalism. Which one is correct? Over to you.
Thank you very much. This is very important question. You are also a senior journalist. So what we do in Blitz, we don't subscribe to the culture of twisted and molested news. We publish the truth as it is. But you have mentioned just now the Daily Star or all other media outlets in Bangladesh, they very much subscribe to the political Islam. And for that reason, if you have seen their covering of Gaza events, for example, then you will see their pattern of presenting the news is like they're trying to twist and molest, similarly as CNN does, similarly as BBC does. So in this case, what you are saying that they are denying the persecution of Hindus in this country, the reason is, as I say, they follow the ideology of political Islam, which teaches you to hate everyone who is not a Muslim.
But can you just brand all this news, simply explain it through political Islam? I mean, the same newspapers have been active a couple of months ago on such things. But I mean, there is a sudden change in attitude, probably. That is what we feel.
You see, I should actually bring one terminology here. All the newspapers that you mentioned, Daily Star, Pratham, Dhaka Tribune, all, they're terribly, notoriously anti-Semite. Jew hatred. That's the beginning point. They hate Jews, then they hate Christians, and also now they hate Hindus. So anti-Semitism and the hatred, religious hatred, extreme influence of Islamism, political Islam, these are the all root causes. And if you know the journalists in Bangladesh, of course you know. So, I mean, despite all facts, even they are not Muslims who are working in Daily Star, they have to go through the unseen policy of never, ever rejecting political Islam, never, ever rejecting anti-Semitism. Bangladesh is a country. Okay, Judaism is not an enemy religion of Bangladesh. Abrahamic religion, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all Abrahamic religions. But if you see in Bangladesh, they are considering themselves, claiming themselves as Muslims, but they are hating the other Abrahamic religions like Christianity, particularly Judaism. So then you understand, if you cannot see any mention about any Jewish religious occasion or festival in anywhere in Bangladeshi media, not electronic, not print. So what is that meaning? Meaning is heavy influence of political Islam, heavy influence of anti-Semitism, and the heavy influence of religious hatred.
I'll come back to this Israel thing later, but let me just ask one question here. Reference of religious persecution in Bangladesh is often equated with quote-unquote situation of minorities in India. The quote-unquote liberals on either side of the border go a step further in referring situation of minorities in, again, quote-unquote BJP-ruled India. Abrogation of Article 370 from Kashmir is projected as persecution of Muslims in India. Can you give me do an honest comparison of the situation on either side of the border? Over to you, sir.
You see, the situation of, as I said, minority persecution in Bangladesh. I first would like to speak about Bangladesh. So, first of all, the persecution, as I said, is continuing from 1947. And by and large, it's a silent persecution because media, they don't speak. They don't tell the truth. They are afraid of telling the truth because our country has been ruled and governed by the government who are subscribing to political Islam, number one. Now, as you are mentioning about Indian situation, they see upholding the political Islam and anti-Semitism. It also gives it gives birth to anti-Hindu and anti-India rhetoric, sentiment, and that's why I'm not biased at all. I mean, I don't see that Indian Hindus are coming on the street and publicly chanting to slaughter Muslims. I have not seen it yet. And if they have done this, they would have been in jail. So, in a country where you can chant publicly slogan to slaughter Hindus, how can you compare the situation of the minorities in Bangladesh with the minorities in your country? Cannot. Indian Muslims are rather enjoying, I should say, Indian Muslims are rather enjoying more privilege than Hindus just because they are religious minorities. That thing is not happening in Bangladesh. You have a Muslim president. You had in India,
Yeah.
APJ Kalam. But in Bangladesh, tell me.
Presidents. Before that, we had Ali Ahmed.
So give me one name in Bangladesh of a Hindu individual who became a president or a prime minister. Rather, in Bangladesh, only one Hindu man, S.K. Sinha, Surendra Kumar Nath Sinha, he became the Chief Justice. And you have seen how Sheikh Hasina has finally pulled him down, humiliated. Why? Because he just wanted to uphold the justice. He was not ready to be biased. And then that was the fate. And then it would not happen with a Muslim Chief Justice. She could do it, Sheikh Hasina, because Sinha was a Hindu. In India, if certain similar things would happen, I'm sure it would be a massive hue and cry. And your government would be under tremendous pressure. But in Bangladesh, no problem. Hindus are the very easy targets.
Yeah, I was a little aghast. It is not that untoward incidents don't happen in India, or that there is no, or that the minority is not used as a tool, or that the minority is never targeted. I am not saying that. There had been riots, there has been this, and that. But people have been fearlessly saying, "Akta Hindu dhar, dhoira maira jawai kar," is, and they are roaming scot-free, is something very terrible. And then when advocates are, you don't allow advocates to plead for a guilty accused. Chaitanya.
Yes, yes, defend the accused, yes.
Right.
Yes, Chinmay Krishna Das.
So no one could appear, they were beaten up. And now that is a really serious issue. I think, I think Bangladeshi editors should.
Can I raise here one important point? Unfortunately, media in Bangladesh is having anti-Hindu bias. Media in your country is just opposite. They are biased towards the religious minorities. They are ready to criticize Hindus. They are ready to criticize Hindu organizations, even by branding them Hindutva, But in Bangladesh, our media, unfortunately, they are completely biased towards the anti-Hindu, anti-religious minority sentiment. Your media is absolutely different. In India, I have seen all the media, most of the media, majority of the media, they are extremely biased towards Muslims. And they're even in many cases, they don't see even genuine crimes committed by Muslims in your country. That's the difference.
Okay. A small interjection here. we have seen, BNP, Jamaat, it is often said that Awami League is good, Hindus are safe. But given your personal experience or whatever, it does really, any Bangladeshi government or party has been in favor of the minorities? Or is it just about politics?
While BNP and not BNP, Jamaat Islami, they are, or Hafazat Islam, they are clearly against Hindus. BNP is a little bit shy in directly talking against Hindus because of the vote factor. And for Awami League, Hindus are real cash cows. They vote for them, cash cows. They have, they think that Hindus have no other option but to vote for Awami League. But in reality, Awami League as a party or Sheikh Hasina as a leader, none of them are even, I should not say sympathetic, I should say none of them are even grateful to Hindus that they vote for them. Because they think Hindus have no other option. Because there is no Hindu party in this country. And Hindus cannot vote for their own candidates because it's got scattered population. And unfortunately, if you say Jamaat or BNP or Awami League, all the parties, they are subscribers of political Islam,
Thank
not
you.
secular.
Thank you, sir. Let me move to other issues. Your newspaper goes after bigwigs across the region, from Dr. Yunus in Bangladesh to Rahul Gandhi in India to Hina Rabbani in Pakistan. Everyone suffered your bows. Why do you target them? To ride on their popularity?
No, we don't only target the Rahul Vinci or Hina Rabbani. We are also targeting Hunter Biden. We are also targeting Zelensky. We are also targeting Iranian mullahs. So we are targeting the wrongdoers, whoever it is, whoever he is or she is or wherever is located, because you and I both are journalists, and journalists have no border. When you say it's an Indian leader, to me, he is not Indian leader. He is just a leader to every journalist. Otherwise, every big international organizations who are also working on corruption and human rights, etc., they don't have any border. As in French organizations, say Reporters Sans Frontières. Reporters has no border. So it does not matter whether it is Rahul Vinci or Hina Rabbani or Bilal Bhutto or Hunter Biden or Zelensky. We just target the wrongdoers. And as you just mentioned, Mohammed Yunus, we have documented his crimes, well documented. It's not out of just assumptions. And Mohammed Yunus is in already power 4 months. He doesn't utter a word at us for those articles because he has no way to defend him. Because we have published everything, all top secret documents we got from Norwegian foreign minister, etc. Maybe you have seen the documentary also. So about Rahul Vinci also, now, why we are against him, I must actually give an explanation to you. I am personally, to be very honest, and I cannot hide myself, I am a Pakistan hater because I have seen my War of Independence in 1971. I have seen how my people were killed, butchered. I have seen how my girls and women were raped. So I can never consider Pakistan as my friend. This is my only enemy country because they have killed our people. And to me, because I am a person who has seen the War of Independence, so I have seen how Indian forces helped us in gaining the independence in 9 months, brother. There is no history of the liberation war where 9 months the war was finished. Nowhere in the world. Even the Vietnam War, you know how many years it took. Just because of India's cooperation, we could achieve independence in 9 months. Otherwise, these Pakistanis would have continued brutalities on earth for years and years and years. Because they would then go they were already going for ethnic cleansing of Bengalis. In their eyes, we are not Muslims. We are pseudo Hindus. So for that reason, I have a gratitude towards India, the person who has seen the war of independence, and I don't want India to be hurt the way Bangladesh has already been hurt. And I know the ulterior agendas of deep state. It's not only Rahul Vinci, many other elements are there. And I want just to warn your people to know your enemies and friends. And at the end of the day, you are my country, your country, and you always remain my friend, neighbor, friendly neighbor. So I don't want my neighbor to be facing the similar fate that we are facing.
Thank you. I think Indian Army would have loved to hear you, because I was in a program the other day and they were very anguished because they lost their lives for in
3,800,
Bangladeshi soil.
3,875. And now Bangladeshis, they hate Jews, while the General Jacob himself was a Jew.
Right.
Who fought for the independence of my country. How we are so much ungrateful. We say Israel is our enemy country. How Israel becomes my enemy country? Israel has never done anything wrong with Bangladesh. We can only say Israel is my enemy because I follow the political Islam. Israel can never be an enemy of Bangladesh. The Bangladesh only one and only enemy is Pakistan.
That's pretty interesting, actually. I'm just coming to that. But before that, I just personal query. You handled communication for Soviet Varta, I believe, for Soviet Union.
TASS News Agency.
Right. And then
TASS, yes.
you also read for North Korea. Are you a communist?
No, not at all. I am neither a communist. I'm not even affiliated with any political party in Bangladesh. Otherwise, all the governments, they come, they put me into the jail. And no political party in Bangladesh speak in my favor. No one. Because I am not their member. Yes.
Now, you have been talking about Israel, the most unbecoming of the countries to talk about from, and Israel and Jews, is the most unbecoming for you to talk from Bangladesh. It's a taboo subject there. I read in one of the interviews, you said that before 2003, you were not allowed to utter the word Israel.
In Bangladesh.
Right.
No one was, yes.
Right. So why did you go for it? I mean, I have you are a devout Muslim. That is what you claim in interviews. And your newspaper's tagline is "Fears none but God." But you target Islamic politics in fiercest of language. Why?
As I mentioned, that first of all, a journalist should have his own conscience. And Israel, a country which is technologically, militarily, and many other ways, it has all the potentials of helping Bangladesh, a country like Bangladesh. Instead of having relations with Iran or any other so-called Muslim brethren, we need to have relations with Israel. And as you said, taboo, I love to break every taboo that in Bangladesh in 2003, you could not utter Israel. In Bangladesh, you never found a copy of Torah anywhere in Bangladesh. Not now, it's available everywhere. People are openly talking about Israel. Our newspaper is organizing Rosh Hashanah and all Jewish festivals, because breaking the taboo, always, if you think that this taboo is not correct, not good, as a journalist, as a human being, you have to break it. And at the end of the day, you see India's relations with Israel. It has been extremely beneficial to both the countries. I take examples from India. I don't take examples from Pakistan. India maintains excellent relationship with Soviet Union, now Russia. And I was in Russian news in Soviet. I understand that the degree of relationship. India has relations with DPRK, I mean North Korea. I know what is the benefit. Or you will say, oh, North Korea also has relationship with Pakistan. Yes, and that kind of relationship I don't approve. I mean, North Korea's relationship with Pakistan, I don't approve. Now, Israel, I will ask you, what is the crime of Israel? What is the crime of Jews? And every time you see when Gaza terrorists throw a bomb or a missile on Israel, cause any collateral damage, they're dancing, they're distributing sweets, celebrating. And when Israel retaliates, they are crying, not only in Gaza, everywhere in the world.
I think the bigger
How?
I think the bigger question that comes up here is, yes, there are some issues with the birth of Israel as a country. There are some issues. We cannot neglect that. But the bigger problem is that why I, sitting in India or sitting in Bangladesh, will be dancing or throwing stones in the name of Israel. Because,
Yes. And also, why I spoke, Bangladesh is the third largest Muslim country. You have to understand. And I am a Zionist who believes Israel has right to exist. Because the problem in the Middle East and everywhere in the world, Israel is one of the main reasons if this problem is solved. And now tell me, if my Israeli friends agree tomorrow to two-state solution, who will head Palestine? Tell me the name. They don't have a leader. From Yasser Arafat to Mahmoud Abbas, everyone is looting the country. And you have seen what happened. You have seen what Ismail Haniyeh and others are doing. They are demanding a country where they don't have a leader. So why shall we subscribe to their undue demand? First of all, let them get matured or let them become a part of Israel. I don't even believe in two-state solution at all.
I'm taking you a little away. See, if we look at just before the Hamas attack on Israel,
Yes,
there
7th of
was,
October.
right. So things were moving in a completely different direction where Saudi Arabia was interested to establish that connectivity, right? It all was, and they were an agreement was
I mean,
about,
you're talking about Abraham Accord. You are talking about
right.
Abraham Accord.
Right. So if we look at today's, and we should also note that the Saudi Arabia is making a move. It was the staunchest Islamic country as it was known. I have visited Saudi Arabia, and they have gone a long way in last 5, 6 years or 7 years. Where you are, when I was there in 2019, I saw that the first cinema hall was opened, and from there we saw the concerts. We are seeing a lot of things. So it
Yes,
has
even
now become
temple Hindu. Now they are also having the Riyadh has become an open city.
right.
Saudi Riyadh city.
Right. So if we see, then the Middle East, which has been the birthplace of Islam, it is moving towards a more moderate state, excepting probably Iran. Okay. And they are looking forward to settle things out with Israel, and they didn't really join this war. They didn't escalate the war, right? So that being so, why there is a reverse move in countries like Bangladesh? I mean, for last 15 years we are talking about growth, growth, growth. Now suddenly everything is, we'll bring sugar from Pakistan, we will give up this, we'll do that, we want khilafat. What is this happening?
The Middle East, as you said, Saudi Arabia is the birthplace of Islam. And for decades, the whole Middle East was following political Islam. Actually, they were not following the real Islam. The Middle East Arab world was following the Sunni version of political Islam, and Iran is following the Shiite version of political Islam. So when the countries like UAE, they retreated from political Islam and they adopted the real Islam. So in Dubai, you see there is Hindu temple and the free society, everything is, but no anarchy, no terrorism, nothing. And it took many decades for the Saudi ruler to realize the root cause of their problems. And now Mohammed bin Salman has adopted a reform policy. Though he is saying reform, but actually he is walking out of political Islam and he is implementing the real Islam.
Right.
Same thing is going to happen in other parts of the Arab world and Muslim world. Now, as to your question about Bangladesh people did not actually voluntarily move to what they are doing now. They have been provoked, they have been influenced, and there are a lot of money and cash and conspiracy of the deep state Pakistani ISI. There was a well orchestrated uh, conspiracy, and Muhammad Yunus was extremely eager to somehow come to power to take revenge on Sheikh Hasina, because Sheikh Hasina was investigating his corruptions and crimes, which would ultimately result in destruction of his global image. So Muhammad Yunus did not come to power to build Bangladesh. He came to power to punish Hasina and give turn Bangladesh into such a country which will become very difficult, impossible for Awami League and those secularist forces, so-called secularist forces, to return to power. That he is doing.
Okay. If you just quickly tell me, how do you see if this situation goes on like this in 1 year or so, what do you see the security threat coming for India?
This situation is not going to continue for 1 year or so, as you said. No, Mahmoud Yunus cannot continue after 20th of January. No way. And security threats, yes. Bangladesh has already removed the provision for Pakistani citizens. While visiting Bangladesh, they were required to have security clearance. Now they don't need. So I'm suspecting, fearing that members of TTP or Haqqani Network or Lashkar-e-Taiba, etc., they may now enter Bangladesh because they are Pakistani nationals. And from Bangladesh, as you know, in West Bengal and particularly West Bengal, there are organized networks to provide Aadhaar card and your country's citizenship. So terrorists can then cross to Nepal, the mountainous areas, give training to jihadis, and carrying Indian passport, a Pakistani national going to US or UK or any European country and committing a crime, terrorist crime, and he dies or she dies, who gets blamed? Your country will get blamed. That is concisely the security threats for India.
Right. Half an hour is not a good time to talk to Mr. Choudhury. And but I would like to end up with a question, sir. Your an observation and a question. Your life story reminded me of the mysterious Godfather. An Israeli newspaper referred you as quote unquote unfathomable. So, very quickly, who are you and what keeps you going? Why do you take so much of risk? You could have done your business, you could have written your articles. Over to you.
I will respond to your question that I am still searching to find who I am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming here.